Move forward with your best foot. I've always been more head first. I got it from the wrong foot. But life put me in death flirt. Remember when I left Earth? Ain't talking about my best verse. Keep a small circle and your network is your net worth. Pops a Leo, young symbol leader shit. Scar my pride like his evil twin. Aaliyah call me Uncle Ill and she know Theo sick. G.O.D. it is, God level. Oh.
How's life?
Rolling? We rocking?
Fucking peer pressured us into starting this podcast again.
I had to. The people were waiting, man.
The people have been waiting.
Content
People been
is
asking,
king, dude.
The fans been saying, "Where's Chase? Where's Ilmac?"
We're here.
Yeah.
We're still on Earth. Meanwhile,
No, it's been a good excuse to like get active again. You know, ultimate between podcasts, dropping new songs, raising the bars, all filtering through the Patreon. If you want to support the podcast, we're up and going again. Patreon.com/IlmacTV. New songs. The Raising the Bars exclusive there now, but probably drop it next week or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good motivation to be back. I mean, I got burnt out from music last year for sure. And because it's like we've been doing this shit for so long that it's like, it's hard to keep the same motivation that you had like when you're first starting out, or you know, just that enthusiasm. And definitely like doing shit like this, and then even just like us moving into a new place, new surrounding, like it's definitely good inspiration and shit, because I was like going through all my shit and looking at like just the amount of music that I made last year, and it's like it's so low, you know, which I'm, but already this year I damn near have made more than I made last year already. And just beats, like no songs, but so that motivation is good to transfer over to other, just life in general. So
yeah, no, it's the same boat. Like even starting the seasons, you know, with spring back in 2019. I think it's like 2019. Maybe 2020.
We definitely started at least making it in 2019.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's shit in there for sure from 2019.
Yeah, there's years old shit in there. But I think we dropped it 2019 before the pandy, or maybe it's 2020.
I can't remember.
Either way, starting there, dropping like 2 projects back to back with spring and with summer. And then I think I circled back and dropped winter, like it's like the end of winter, like
not winter.
March or something.
You mean,
the end of autumn, which was like December. Either way, it was a break in between, and then since then it's been like Dre Detox, been a couple years. We've dropped 3 out of 4 seasons. It's like, where's the 4th? But kind of the same thing, like coming out of the Young Pandy and then making so much music and just almost getting burnt out. And there's also always that, like, my whole rationale between the seasons too was like, you know, we have so much music built up. This series gives and so many different styles of songs that it's like I don't want to just pair them all to where it sounds like a compilation. I want certain songs to go together. And it's like a paralysis by analysis. But then I'm like, well, if I have this ability to move freely from different theme to different theme and just kind of put out this surplus of material, then I'll be able to start from square one. So when I first started out with the seasons idea, it was like no expectations, just drop them, just clear the cache, you know what I mean? And then kind of start fresh. And I've always had this idea like, oh, I want to, you know, do travel and like document doing a project over here. Like I'm going to go to Portland for a week. I'm going to do a project with a producer there. I'm going to go to Texas and do a project with Trox and just kind of document it all, but have that weight of all this other material that's been haunting me like out. But then once we got to the 3rd one, even though the intention, or the 4th one to winter, you know, even though it's like just put it out for the sake of putting it out for the people here. Like I'm not trying to do some crazy campaign or even stress too much about that. Just like excommunicate it. But even then, it's still like it's a lot of pressure, and then can kind of feel like depressing sometimes. Like the day after releasing a project, it's like,
oh dude,
you've been focusing on something, and then it's out, and you know, regardless of reception, there's a little bit of like, there's excitement on putting it out, but it's also like, damn, like it's out there. It's not mine anymore. It's it's just there. But then also, you know, because it's like no expectations, it's like almost an excuse not to like really work hard and push visuals and all these things. So then when the project comes out, it's like, damn, I'm kind of disappointed. Like it's not doing much, you know? And you rinse and repeat that feeling so many times, it's like you just burn out, you know what I mean?
Well, and also too, like realistically, we could have put it out then. Like we had enough music to do it. Yeah. But it's like,
that's the emotional baggage.
Yeah.
But the creative side is is like 50% of why it didn't come out. It wasn't even only burnout. It was like, I was like, this is the final chapter.
Yeah.
Like I want this to put the bow on it, to bring the story of the seasons full circle. Like, you know, people listen to it and the songs, you know, were made, you know, a lot of them were made for those themes and everything. There's a lot of interwoven themes and vibes within each of the projects. And there's more pressure with Winter of me wanting to like bring it to a close in a special way, you know. And I've wrestled with different ideas, and we had enough music then, made more music, and my idea of kind of how to finish the series has evolved. Yeah. And only recently, you know, like I only made a couple songs last year, which is not what we normally do.
I put out one song last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, going back to what you're saying though, I've always felt this, and I don't know if I never realized it, or maybe I did, but until you said it. But that like getting depressed the day of or right when you put out a project is hella real. I've had that every single project I've ever put out, and also I think for like, you know, people like us, where obviously we're getting better at it now, but in the past we haven't necessarily, like, I'm not the most like social media savvy person. I don't really like posting. I'm not active or consistent, and obviously that's just my own personal problems and your own personal shit. But when you're like that, it's really hard to get an algorithm sparked, and then you feel like your shit's not getting the reception that you feel like it deserves, and that kind of like snowball affects that depression. That shit's real as fuck, bro. Like it really is though. Like especially when you're like, you know, we're independent. It's no one else doing this shit but us. You know what I'm saying? So you feel all of the weight of it, whether it's in your head or not. You know what I'm saying?
I've only ever wanted to create art and put it out. I never wanted, and still don't want to be an influencer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like where we're at, there's the side that's like, God, I don't want to do it. But then it's also like, but we do have access to like our fans directly. Don't have to go to a late. So there's like privileges that come with it too.
For sure.
But it's just like tour. Yeah. Like tour is this big whirlwind craziness, and bro, and every time the next day after tour, like there is like, oh, relax. But also there's that such thing as PTD, like post tour depression. Yeah. Because then you've gotten into a routine where you're moving, you're seeing new places. It's stressful, and you're sharing the art, and it's dope, and there's all this shit, and then you're just come back and you just sit there a day or two and you're like, like restless. You want to like drink at 3 p.m. or like noon because that was like the road habit. You know what I mean? Like that shit exists for sure. Yeah. Man. And
I just never really thought about it until like, oh yeah, you know what? Like I totally experienced that.
I said something on, I can't remember what it was, but a lyric that was like, just put out an album, should be happy, what's the hurt for? It's like when this disappointment was potential, it was worth more, or something like that.
That's hard.
Yeah, something like that, you know? But one thing, even like circling back to bringing the podcast back and dropping new music and more raising the bars, like I wrote a Raising the Bar and got like 2 more almost done. You know, it's like taking that break too. There's something to be said for taking the break and like learning new shit, having new experiences. And now it's like my writing is I feel like just different, you know, and it feels good, and I'm super hyped to write now.
Yeah,
so.
when you take a break like that, because you got to think about it, like just think about like the old sort of way that we were constant and like not like settle, or maybe it is settling like a little bit. You're not as like I feel like now when I sit down to make music, my ideas are, I might not have the same output, but my ideas are more concise. It's more well thought of. There's not enough, like, especially going back to like when we were drinking, it's like you sloppily settle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to completely do with being fucked up, but that's definitely like the start of it, because that's how for so long we used to create. But it's like when you're in that mind state of just like making so many songs just to make them, and not like, and almost like rushing through shit, like writing real quick, recording, and then, you know, being fucked up and being in this haze of quality control. It's like nowadays I look at it completely different, because I only create from a purely organic space of inspiration, and also I just feel like I can just see the end result clearer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even with rapping, because I have a completely different relationship with rapping now, because it's like I really don't even want to rap. The only thing I really want to rap on is Water Buffaloes. But even that shit, like if I think about how I wrote and recorded all like the latest material that I did, it's way different than in the past, because I would go back and re-record. I would go back and rewrite shit. I'd be way more critical. I just think about the bigger picture more rather than being stuck in the moment, which it's good to be in the moment. But you also, I don't know, I just think my outlook is different when I create now, because
100%.
it's just more polished. Like the output might be less, but the quality is improved. You know what I'm saying?
You hit the nail on the head with like when I've listened, because I still have stuff like that we haven't put out that was recorded in some of those times. Like we were messing around doing 4 or 5 songs sometimes a night, just getting faded, staying 7, 8, 9 a.m. late, sometimes later, you know what I mean? And just making songs. And when you're at that point and just like on one, it like feels so good. And it's like you're writing, but most of my shit, it's like I'm settling at some point. It's like, I'm like, what did that bar mean? Like, what? I get it. I was just like in a vibe, and there is something about, again, like you said, being in the moment. But a lot of it is just more like I'm just kind of capturing this emotion, and like it doesn't need to mean anything and doesn't have any greater context. Like, whereas, and honestly too, when I stopped drinking, it's like that classic thing of like being scared I wasn't going to, you know, like, because I got so used to creating, like, even it wasn't always getting like fucked up, like even just a couple beers,
Yeah, it's a crutch,
just
though.
that,
like,
yeah, but just to like that altered state to loosen and like channel my creativity. But it was the opposite for sure. Like when I'm not, like, I can still tap into those moments of inspiration, but also I have the like the focus to be able to see a thought out where I might have given up, you know, in my normal old creation style, like, I want to tie this concept to that, but forget it. Like, just throw some cool rhymes in, you know, or whatever. But now I can like focus enough to see it through that. You know what I mean? And it kind of it's way better.
It's way better. I was scared at first too, bro, because it had been such a crutch for me and such a common part of creation and just my life in general, that at first I was very scared, but I very quickly realized that it's quite the opposite, because sometimes when you're in those altered states, like, it just lies to you. Like, it just doesn't tell you the truth.
Dude, I would do like songs and then like 7 a.m. like walk home and just like listen to it on repeat until I passed out. And I'll be like, this is the fucking best thing in the world. Like, oh my God, I am God. Like, this is what I created. And then like a day or two later, I'll be like, this is kind of mid.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't that crazy. You know what I mean? Or like, this part is really good. There's always something there, you know? Yeah. But again, being able to like hone it and have the focus to just make it cleaner is definitely a big priv. of being sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even on the battle rap side, like, you know, I only like I've done a few battles like completely sober, but it's like I would always need to like have at least a shot or two, just because I'd be so nervous and the adrenaline just to like you know, take it off. Like, and I've had different experiences with that. I've had like me versus when I was first in London, I like got stupid shit faced 2 nights before. I did a show opening up for Swollen Members, and that's a whole journey and a whole different story in its own. But the gist was the entire next day I was just throwing up all day. It's like one of those bad ones. So the day of the battle, luckily there was a day between. And the day of the battle, for me to recover, then the day of the battle is like my sternum and everything was still sore. And I was like, I still can't drink, you know? But I was used to like having a beer and a shot before just to take the edge off. But I didn't. And there's a moment, like I want to say in my first round, where I can feel myself thinking. And I'm like, this is why I took it, because I'm like rapping, and then I'm like, oh, that guy over there, like he's not reacting, and am I using the space between us enough? Like, I should move toward him. Meanwhile, I'm still rapping this whole time, but I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I should move toward him a little bit. And then I had the moment where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm rapping right now, and that's when everything went blank, and I was like. And I forgot my entire verse. It wasn't while I was thinking the things, though. It was like remembering, like, oh, yeah, I'm performing right now. I should focus on my performance. And then as soon as I had that thought, I went blank. And I was like, oh, fuck. And you can see it. And I'm like, I got a freestyle. And I say a really bad bar, like something, you know, Mildo, something that's a fake. You fake fuck like a dildo or some really bad bar
Took
like
it back
that.
to 05, 06 real quick.
But the crowd, like the fucking British crowd, you know, the Don't Flop crowd reacted just enough to give me a second and be like, oh, that's where I was. And then come right back. So it was almost like after that moment, though, I was like, nah, I got to drink. You know what I mean? Before. Flip side of that is I don't like eating before my battles because I don't want to feel full.
Right.
So what would happen at certain points, Arsenal, you know, in other battles, is it was like I would do this pre-battle thing, even if it was a shot, whatever, take the edge off, sometimes more. But then right after the battle, adrenaline is so high, and like, it's like, oh, and I'll be like, I just need a shot. And I'd go to the bar, and fans would be like, oh, buy you a drink. Get a shot, get a beer. And then it's like I'm still so jacked up and coming down.
Yeah.
I don't feel the shots or anything, you know, because my literal adrenaline. But then all of a sudden, it all wears off, and I haven't eaten, and it's like, poof, and I'm like faded at an event or something. You know what I mean? And so I kind of went on both sides of the spectrum with, you know, drinking, not drinking in battles and how that would affect it. But fast forward, you know, I wasn't drinking during me versus A-Ward. And it's like one of my cleanest, if not my cleanest performance. You know,
that was like,
I mean?
like around when you first stopped too. Because I remember you even say there's a moment in there, so you're like, I'm fucking 3 months sober or something. I'm 4 months sober. Like, what? When he's all getting on you for
which
being
when I
drunk.
say that, like, especially saying I'm this much sober, it's like almost like, I'm a recovering alcoholic and I'm 3 months sober, which almost just gives his round more weight. You know what I mean? Whereas like the story, you know, we can even get to the story of me, like, you know, not drinking was based off of us doing like a sober October, you know, like, and so it's like, oh, we're going to just be sober for the month. We're going hard, whatever. And doing a month and then just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it going. And that's pretty much been since you know, beginning of October, you know, end of September 2019, you know, the last 2019, 2019 is the last time I drank. But it wasn't like I need to stop drinking, it was like, let's do it for a month, you know, just keep it going. Like this clarity and creating and all these things are actually working in my favor. Like I need to do it like that.
Yeah. Know? And I know some people can like you know, I don't look down on other people because everyone's got their own thing, you know, vices, and people have control over it. But it's like I just didn't have the off switch. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was like I had to, because it was getting to a real dark place. But it's like I just don't have the off switch at all. The
like
moderation.
It's like Pringles.
Yeah,
once
bro.
you pop.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So like,
it was easy though, because the thing about when we're drinking and everything, like, is we're being productive.
Yeah,
we're making songs.
Well, that's the justification.
So
of it.
yeah, that's the part that like would make like justify 100%, because I'd be like, I was working. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I made 5 songs.
Yeah.
What do you mean? We made, and there was great shit made. Don't get me wrong.
I would make 10 beats in a day. I haven't done that in a long time, but they're not 10 bangers.
Right.
It's like 2 bangers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You open the folder, it's all bing, bong, bing. Like, that was into the night. I could definitely tell like some of the songs that are super old where I listen, and I can tell like if it was beginning of the night or end of the night, like in my recording, you know, in my verse, like
might sound
if I
a little
just sound
stuffed
off,
up.
it might be a little stuffy, you know what I mean? Just kind of slurry too, you know what I mean? Like, but also too, to even circling back to like post-release depression, like
that's the term right there.
Post-release depression.
PRD.
Hey yo, not to be confused with post-nut clarity. You know what I mean? But that's part of my answer in like renewing this push and not putting pressure on it, and the drop, you know, and I'm not doing enough content and algorithmizing my impact, and, you know, what are my Spotify, my sort of like, you know, safety net from like getting back into that mode is like make a lot of dope shit, be inspired, but also for the most part, I'm not releasing it. I'm releasing it exclusively to Patreon. Like, if I'm always so concerned with, you know, the reception, is it big enough? Like, let me just give it to the people who, you know, seek it out, who in the biggest supporters, and share it like it's the fam.
Direct to the fan base.
Yeah, you know. And then if we decide on there, like through a vote or whatever, to put songs out, 1 song a month or whatever out publicly, we can make it a thing where the biggest support, like the supporters, are included in on that.
Yeah.
You know, let's vote on 4 songs this month. Let's vote on 1 to drop, or whatever, you know. And I think it's just like an insulator to not have to, or it's just a way to kind of just not have to think about the, you know, those things that were kind of hindering the creativity before.
Well, that's the other, like, maybe the other side of the coin of like where we're at in like the digital age is how easy it is to have a direct pipeline to the fans, because we're like in that like generation that like transition from analog to digital. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you look at people who are younger, they're born into it. It's literally all they know. Like, I remember first getting the internet. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers is like
dial up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or like how like even with something like video games, it's like someone who's younger is known what that is, and it's part of their just everyday life. And I say that to say that's like sometimes you can feel like caught in the middle of that. You know what I'm saying? Where we're from an era where all we wanted to do was just create, and then nowadays it's content. So it's really about finding the perfect marriage between those two things, creation and content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where music is now, and just things in general. I mean, everything's consumed on the phone now. You know what I'm saying? It might be saturated because everyone's doing it, but you do have direct access to curate and cultivate your fans.
There were so many
and the people who support
before,
you.
You know, back in back in the day.
Back in my day.
I actually played outside. You know what I mean? Like, I remember playing War on the bluff with my dad, which really just was trespassing and throwing stuff at each other. Like I remember that. You know what I mean? I wasn't playing no Fruit Ninja on an iPad. Like, what? I was throwing rocks in a pine cone fight at my siblings.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, seeing those, it's like J. Cole's Middle Child is like an anthem for that. Like, we seen the bridging of that, the technological age for sure. Motherfuckers don't know what dial-up sounds like.
Like that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Loading an image.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jacking off the porn, just waiting for the nipple to show.
Porn was
like,
different
fuck.
back then, bro.
Hurry up.
Because you get the pixelated version would just like load fucking vertically.
You had to like time it. You know what I mean? Like, you wasn't just skipping from thing to thing. No, you picked one and waited for it to load. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah. Or like you found porn behind a dumpster, behind a Quickie Mart. You know what I'm saying? Behind the corner store.
or VHS might get passed around. You know what I'm saying? My brother definitely blessed me with a VHS or two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Like the argument between like digital and raw assets.
Well, okay, wait.
So, for example,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a physical book as opposed to one on a Kindle or something. Which do you guys prefer?
I mean, the physical product, it comes down to like the physical product always feels better, but sometimes you can't really argue with the accessibility of being digital. So,
Yeah.
like I like even with like music or whatever, like I used to love reading the inserts and I would nerd out and memorize everything and credits and all that.
There'd be lyrics on some of them, like in the book.
But the thing is I kind of still do that now. I just click on the credits on Spotify and look at it. It just doesn't have a physical artwork that you can look at. But I think I'll always like physical, but you can't really deny like how easy it is digitally. But
yeah,
I probably prefer the physical, but
yeah, I think
takes up more space.
It's a balance, and with certain things, like with books, I'll download or buy like books on tape, books on tape. Aging myself even more. Yeah, books on a tape recorder. You ever listen to a book on your Walkman? But audiobooks because of the convenience, and I drive a lot, and especially if I'm driving to Portland and that's a 14-15 hour drive, it's like I make sure to load up some good audiobooks, and so I like the convenience of that. But I've never read a book on my phone. I couldn't. It's like, what? I'm like, I need a physical book if I'm reading a book.
I'd rather listen to it if I'm not going to read a physical one.
You couldn't do a Kindle?
Nah, I don't want to like scroll a pad like trying to read. I feel like I just get distracted. Like, what other app? Like, and I do need and like the book. Like, even with like comics, like I've started comics on websites, like reading them, and was like for instance, Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. I read like the first 5 pages, like clicking through online, and I was like, no, I gotta buy this. And I'm like, I gotta read it. You know what I mean? And it's because I was like, so certain shit, if I'm not sure, let's sample it the digital, But if it's like if it's something that has like sort of like comics though, it's like art that has sort of, it's different, you know what I mean, and books. But there are certain things that digital is, but I don't want a CD. I'll tell you that. Don't give me your CD.
What would you even play it on?
Yeah, what am I gonna do with that? But if it was something like vinyl or something, like that's cool. You could put it on the wall. Yeah, bigger art.
And it actually does sound better when you listen to it on a vinyl. It does.
I want to get a record player, actually.
I had a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, and I didn't like it because I didn't like reading it on my computer. Maybe if I had... See, the thing is, I've never had an iPad, so maybe or a Kindle, or, maybe I would like it, but I don't know. When, like, the short experience that I had of, like, specifically with comics, I didn't like it. I read a couple of them, but I was like, it just didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just didn't feel right, but...
Yeah, it's like I'll start something to see if I like, will I fuck with this? And then it's like, I need to just go seek it out. Which in a lot of physical, with a lot of sort of physical things, especially with art, like that's always kind of been part of it. You know what I mean? It's not, it's never been like record picking up. It's like record digging, digging for records. Like there's a certain, like I used to go to 360 Vinyl, like downtown Portland, and like I would look at the artwork of CDs that people I never heard of, and then be like, can I listen to this? They'd give me a copy. I'd go listen to it. I'd do that with multiple, and then buy some shit, and or like, they had like graffiti supplies and shit like that too. It's like the go-to store. But there was like a ritual with it of like taking the bus to the Max downtown, and and it was like a whole excursion that kind of felt special. And being new even to like, newer to like comics and shit in general, and kind of finding that it's kind of the same, you could just find it online and click through, but then it's like, I wonder if my store will have it, or go to this other spot and go through the go
there's also an element of rarity to it too. Like it was way more rare to have, like with music, for example, like a physical CD. There wasn't as many people putting music out, and albums and songs didn't come out at the volume that they come out nowadays. So there is an element that was more special to it, where it meant a little bit more. Nowadays, not to say it doesn't mean more. It's way easier to reach people, but there was something... I just have really fond memories being young of loving to look at the artwork of albums and movies and read the back. And, like, I would really dive deep into that. And, like... It's just that's just not a part of it anymore, because it's so easy to just bump an album on your phone, which is cool, and I love that. I love that progression. But there is something really special about a physical product.
Now the digital version of that is like hearing the song, even though you're only gonna listen to 15 seconds of it on their Instagram feed and be like, I get that. That was a good song, and never go listen to it.
Yeah.
But the other version of that, though, is like clicking their feed and like looking at their other videos and pictures and kind of trying to get an idea of who they are. But it's different for sure.
It's also like that with movies. Like, I watch tons of shit and I love to watch shit at the crib, but there's still something really special about watching a movie in the theater. It's an experience. I love going to the movies. Like I've always loved it my whole life. Like, that's the yin and the yang of that. It's so easy to watch something at the crib when you've got an unlimited library at your fingertips. But I still like going to watch a movie. Like the movies I care about, or like, even going on a whim, like, I get excited when I go to the movies. Like it makes me feel like a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I love that shit. Like, but
a lot of times if there's a good, like a movie I'm looking forward to, and sometimes it'll go to streamers same time as theaters, or you could like buy it on certain platforms. It's like I'll hold out on watching it. Like I'm not gonna watch it on streamer. I want to go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, not everything. There's certain shit where I'm like, like back in the day, I might have took a chance on this movie in the theater. Let me just watch it here, convenient. I'm not attached to it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of releases, like I'd rather experience it in that.
Well, you're also like fully committing to the movie. Now when I watch it, I won't necessarily finish it in one, or I might finish it in one sitting, but there's breaks. Like, because, I am addicted to the phone and the technological, accessibility. I'll pause the movie and get distracted and go down a rabbit hole of scrolling, and then realize I've gone down the rabbit hole and be like, oh, fuck, okay, yeah, let me get back to this movie. Like, something about the theaters is like an uninterrupted commitment to the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that, because it's not like that at the crib, bro. Like, unless I'm like just so hooked in. But even if I'm hooked in, like I'll pause, get up, go to the bathroom, get something to drink, go do some other shit, maybe go hit a little weed, something. There's a distraction element though, you know what I'm saying? Whereas at the theater, it's like you're there and you're not going to leave for 2 to 3 hours nowadays. Movies are longer now, I feel like.
When it's like I'm not going to go to the theater and this is a movie I want to see, I'll like recreate the experience and just come in and like spill Coke all over the floor and let it dry. Get
so
sticky. Some popcorn.
Yeah, throw a couple
like
wrappers down there.
Yeah, be watching. Shut up in the front. You know, to bring it back.
Yeah.
But I totally feel that. Like, I love the movie theaters too, man. Like putting the like nowhere. I never eat popcorn.
Yeah.
If I'm at the theater, let me get a little small popcorn.
Yeah.
Put the M&M or put Reese's Pieces in it.
Oh.
You know, so you're getting bites with the Reese's Pieces and the popcorn. But don't put too much because they all sink to the bottom.
Yeah.
So you kind of just got to sprinkle and then grab. You know?
Yeah, I respect that.
There's something good about that and buying like a $15 Dasani, you know?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, the best water that they got there. The only water they got there.
I know.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why does water need ingredients?
yeah. Classic.
What's the last movie you saw in the theater?
The last movie I saw in the theater? Probably Black Panther.
Dude, I still haven't seen it. I really need to.
It's on, you can stream it now. It's on Disney Plus. I think that was the last movie I saw in the theater. Wakanda Forever.
And
I'll go to see all the Marvel movies.
We're seeing Quantum Mania tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I'll go. The DC ones, I'll see most of them. There's definitely a few I've skipped out, but I've seen every single Marvel movie in the theaters.
Oh, that's fire.
Yep, since Iron Man 1, I've been on board. Like, there's certain movies I'll go, or like a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like that was amazing to experience. I mean, I'm sure if I didn't go to the theaters, I would have still loved the movie, but that was a special one to experience in the theaters.
I seen that movie. I'm like, give them all the awards. Like, I seen that in the theaters.
You've seen it a few times, right?
Yeah, I seen it twice in theaters. I want to say, yeah. So my girl saw it in Portland. Like Dast, actually. Like I wasn't in Portland, and her sister, and he was like, "Let's go to the." They were kicking it like, "Let's go to the movies," and they didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? Dast is stuff on game. You know? And went and saw it, and then when she got back, she's like, "We gotta go see this movie." And I'm like, I didn't watch a trailer, nothing. And I was like, all right, let's go. Because she's like, Dast. I'm like, okay, I trust it's probably going to be fire. And I was just mind blown. I went in there with zero expectations. I didn't know what it was going to be about.
It's almost better that you experience it that way.
And like, I was like, well, knowing Dast, it might be like, you know, martial arts movie. You know? And there's that.
That movie is every genre. It's in there.
It's everything.
It's every
everywhere.
Genre. All at once.
But
that's a real unique, special movie. Honestly,
I like seen it, and I was like, "This is the best." Like, I think this is the best movie I've seen.
It's more rare these days to have your mind blown by a movie, and that one was a special one. I was definitely blown away by that movie. That movie was crazy.
Then my mom and Eric, my stepdad, came out here. And I was like, we should go to the movies, and I was like,
that's when I saw it. That's when I saw it.
Oh, you came with us.
That's right. I saw it. Yeah,
that's right. And so we all went to the movies.
But didn't you say they saw it again too?
Yeah. So it's like a trend. My girl saw it, and then she's like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
And then after I saw it the first time, my parents came to town. I was like, we gotta go. And then you came, and the second time I was even more because the first time it was almost like I was trying to figure out and predict him. I still was enjoying it in the moment, but there was a little bit of like, okay, what this is the moral here. This is how it's gonna end. Okay, but then it went just deeper than that.
Yeah.
So the second time, having known, it didn't take away the impact. Actually, I was just watching it, and I was like more in it with the characters and the emotions and everything. And the second time, I cried. The first time, I might have like got the little lump. I'd be crying in movies and shows, you know what I mean? But the second time I was like hell of emotion. I'm like, damn, this is so deep. And it was like I could even see the characters more. And my parents, they like left. They're like, oh, that was amazing. And I wasn't sure if they're gonna like it, because sometimes I'll be like, yo, he's sleeping on great. Sometimes my mom kind of purposely likes bad movies.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
You know, come home, she's like watching The Cube or like something like Maze Runner or something.
Yeah.
But she left and she hit me a few days later like, we took our friends to go see it. You're right, it was even better the second time. I'm like, yeah.
Sometimes you'll also like just notice more detail on those second viewings when you kind of already, all right, I know what's going to happen, but you could like, I don't know, I find that I notice a lot more detail sometimes. Or in certain movies, like you'll pick up on obviously like foreshadowing more because obviously you know what's going to happen, but you're able to, oh my God, like that little I didn't catch that, or that little hint, or that, you know.
Yeah.
Or even dialogue, catching certain lines. Like sometimes I'll get that from those repeated viewings, like.
Yeah,
that's just pick up on it more. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Best movie.
Because there's a difference between not like when you're trying to unravel and figure out what's going on, as opposed to like, okay, I got this, but I'm still gonna just immerse myself in this movie and
the characters are even just more real. Yeah, it's so good, man. That's the best movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was. I need to run that back, honestly. And it's so dope about the dude who plays her husband from Indiana Jones and the Goonies. I forget his name, but all of the interviews and the press junkets and everything I've seen him do, and like the awards and shit, like it's just dope for him, because you know he's talking about how he didn't stop acting, wasn't able to get work, get typecast and all this shit, and then all these years later gets this resurgence and kills it, and that's cool to see. That's really cool to see.
Yeah, wasn't his story too, like he wasn't even gonna be an actor at first? He went to an audition with his brother.
Yeah, something like that.
And his brother was the one auditioning, and then like someone was like, you know, you come and or scheduled something, but it was like he kind of fell into that, you know, and ended up getting cast. It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah,
he was so good.
Yeah, he was really good, really, really good. That's always cool, bro. When like actors will get, you know, a resurgence like that. Like it's always cool to see.
When are the Oscars? Did that shit already happen?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it did.
He win for
I think so.
Movie?
I think so.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
I think it happened. Sure. I don't know though.
He gave like a really heartfelt speech.
That was kind of recently, huh? Yeah. Maybe I did see something about that on socials.
Yeah, well, deserving.
Definitely, great movie.
I want to see the Christopher Nolan one, the Oppenheimer. Have you seen?
Oh, I haven't. Dude, no, I've only seen the very first teaser.
And there's
that was
hella people. If you look at the cast list, dude, there's so many fucking good actors in that movie.
R.I.P. Bender, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yep. Like, whenever I hear Oppenheimer, I just think of
for sure.
Squad of top designer.
Want to side or compromise with all the Nazi occupiers. The atomic bomb designer, Dr. Rob. And I think I might have said this before on like a podcast or somewhere, but Definition had in one of his heavy spoiler videos, he was talking about Robert Oppenheimer, and he says, if you're not aware, the atomic bomb designer, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, and then he explains, and I messaged him, I was like, that's an Easter egg, right? And he's like, fuck yeah. And so I'm like, that's so, yeah. I thought that was,
snuck it in
there. He snuck in the little Bender little reference.
And his squad of top advisors.
Oh, yeah, he just does the whole line. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they rhymed it with common law vagina too, which is hilarious.
That shit looks dope though. I mean, for the most part, Christopher Nolan's track record's pretty fucking.
For the most part.
Yeah.
What do you mean for the most part?
Yeah, it just is. His track record is fucking.
Wait, isn't there a bad one in there?
No, not a bad one.
Not a single bad one.
It's not Jupiter Ascending or something.
That was fucking.
Why do you always think he did that?
I don't know. I've said this before.
I'll look up who did that because
it's M. Night Shyamalan.
No. One of the.
It's like someone who's good.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Is
it's someone who's good.
That movie was the Wachowskis, maybe.
I think
it is.
Yeah, that movie was so bad, bro. And for the most part, you know, there is some silver lining you can find in movies for the most part, but that movie was ass cheeks. That movie was bad. That was a bad one. Channing Tatum is a fucking elf. Like, you know what I'm saying? He had the little elf ears on.
But Nolan's track record is flawless.
Yeah, he's...
What's Nolan? What
Memento.
Interstellar. Oh, Memento.
Inception, Interstellar, the Dark Knight trilogy, Insomnia, fucking...
Prestige.
Insomnia? Yeah, with Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
That might be, honestly,
Dunkirk,
probably his weakest.
Yeah, but Insomnia is slept on, though.
Yeah,
Hilary Swank is in that movie, too. Dunkirk and fucking...
Oh, yeah, Dunkirk.
And then cool. Tenet. Dunkirk was cool. But
I think if you,
I think I should watch. I only watched it once,
exactly.
And like I remember watching it late, and kind of I should probably run that back.
I did,
but
the
it was
thing
good though.
Where I started it one night and then fell asleep, but I ran the whole thing back the next night. And I thought it was cool.
But there's no way it's not a good movie though. It's
exactly.
If you want to put that low, cool. But if that's his weakest shit, like that or Insomnia, it's like, bro, you're fucking probably one of, if not the best. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
And then Tenet, and then I think there might be one I'm forgetting. But
fucking Tenet, dude.
Yeah, I really love The Prestige though. The Prestige.
Oh, I just watched that again.
Is such a good movie, dude. And that's another one on those repeated viewings where you catch so much in there, like.
Yeah, some days you love me and some days you don't, you know? I like watched it vaguely because I haven't seen it. Like I had it on DVD way back in the day, but like I hadn't seen it in so long. And you were talking about it and I watched it again and it was one of those where I kind of vaguely remember how it ended, but it was in no way took away from it. And it was like, oh yeah, no, it's deep. Like there was an added element and it was really, really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's up there.
Yeah. What a movie.
Him and Denis.
Villeneuve or something like that? Yeah, that's the guy that did Arrival and Dune, Prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I rewatched Prisoners.
Arrival is so good.
Arrival was that's a mind blower right there. Bro, but I rewatched Prisoners recently. And that movie is
we all
fucking...
We all watched it pretty recently.
That movie is crazy, bro.
It's like one of the greatest movies
That movie is...
Wait, Prisoners with Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard, fucking...
that shit was crazy.
Prisoners is crazy, dog. That movie is really good.
Because I thought, like, I called part of it in... Because I've seen... There's another one I'm pretty sure I'd seen at some point. But I have a bad memory. And I was like, I feel... It was a thing where I was kind of predicting, but then it was just another added layer to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I was watching that, Prisoners, and you know the plot of it, like crazy, like child abduction shit. It was like 9 o'clock at night. I was here because I was watching Betty, and shit, we might hear it. What time is it? We might hear it. But there's a ice cream truck pulls up. Parks right, because there's an apartment complex across the street, parks right out front at 9 o'clock at night, and it's like ringing, bing, and like the thing's going, but every time the song loops, what does it say? It's like, hello? Is it just hello?
It's hello.
Yeah, it's like hello. And then it's like the ice cream truck sound and but I'm like, it's 9 o'clock, like on a school night. Like and I'm watching a movie about child abduction and shit. I'm like, nah. And I walked out with Betty, like with Betty Avo's dog, and was just like out there like watching, like you ain't getting no kids on my watch. You know what I mean? But I definitely was it wasn't even just a little. I was in that movie so much. I'm like, this is fucking creepy, man. And I tried to look up the name of the business on the side. I like couldn't find it, but I was like, no, I'm fucking cracking this game.
That's so funny.
I felt like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all of Denis's movies are super good. He did Enemy. He did
Enemy. Enemy is
I was about to say, wasn't he in
weird
Sicario
one.
too?
Yeah, he did Sicario. He did the first one. He didn't do the second one. But he did Sicario.
He was the sheriff in Sicario or whatever.
Well, wait, who?
The director, the writer and director.
Oh, he's in the movie? Nah, he's not in it. That's
who am I thinking of? Was he in Hell or High Water? Am I thinking that?
Yeah, you're probably.
I think he was in the sheriff in Hell or High Water then.
Really? Like
I swear the writer was in between the because the same person that wrote Hell or High Water and Sicario, right? That's
Taylor Sheridan. He wrote those. Yeah, he was an actor though. He was in Sons of Anarchy. He played like the cop that was like.
That's what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
he plays the cop.
That's why I'm thinking
in
of
the first couple
picturing
seasons
him
of
as a
Sons.
cop.
Yeah, that dude wrote Hell or High Water.
That's
Sicario, but Denis Villeneuve directed Sicario. Though Sicario's Sicario's great.
Got you, because I was
and then-
picturing him as a cop. I'm like, I swear I seen
Yeah,
him
yeah,
in one of those.
yeah. The writer, him, Taylor Sheridan, and he did that movie Wind River, and I think that was maybe his directorial debut, or maybe Hell or High Water was, but he directed that too, though. Wind River with Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner.
I was gonna say
about the murder on the native reservation. That movie's really good too.
Is that
it's
the one that bro who played Punisher is in?
Yeah. I think Barenthal's in it. He's in that dude is in a bunch of shit. I'd be forgetting he's in movies. And
I always remember Shane.
From Walking Dead. Yeah, me too. That's what I'll always remember him
Fucking
as.
Rick's wife.
That show started out so good and got so bad so quick. The Walking Dead. The first season of The Walking Dead is hella good. Maybe the first couple, but that shit just took a nosedive, bro.
A lot of people still like it.
Fuck all that.
Yeah.
Once they started just bullshitting with the explanation of it, I was like, I'm done with this shit. Because the first season has that huge Easter egg where the doctor whispers the shit and they hint towards this crazy thing, and then they never got to it. And I was like, all right, I'm fucking done with this shit.
It kind of got repetitive in the way of all right, some people. The zombies, they move from point A to point B, deal with some more fucked up people, and then zombies, and then go to another place, and then some people and some zombies,
But speaking of The Last of Us, I'm loving that right now. The Last of Us is great. It's really good.
Pedro Pascal, is that his name?
Pedro Pascal is a great actor, too. Good. He's good in everything he's in, bro.
Loved him in Narcos Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
He was in...
Yeah, man, he's great as the Mandalorian. He was good in Game of Thrones. That was the first thing I saw him in was Game of Thrones.
Same.
He was good. He was good.
Viper.
The dude who fights for
the mountain.
He's a great actor though. But
he was also in that movie. Was it Triple Frontier?
Yeah.
Was he in that?
Yeah. Okay. He's in Triple Frontier with Ben Affleck and Oscar Isaac.
I always get those two confused, even though they don't really
Pedro
look alike.
Pascal and Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, there's something but I do that with certain actors, and directors.
I like Oscar Isaac though. He's really good in Ex Machina, where he's the guy that's
good in everything.
Yeah,
that guy's.
Have you seen that movie? That movie's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Where he creates the AI. He's the creator, dude. Yeah.
Will Smith fucking socks the robot in the face.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac is really good in Moon Knight as well.
Dune.
Oh yeah, I fucked with Dune. I really like Dune, and I think the second one is coming out. Dune was really dope though. I fucked with Dune.
Was it in a comic first?
It's a
Oh,
novel.
it's a novel, and then they made a one in maybe the 80s or something.
David Lynch did.
Yeah, David Lynch. And isn't Sting in it? Maybe. Sting's in the old Dune. But Dune was really sick.
Dune was what we were talking about the other day that people said could never be adapted to a film because it's so extensive and its history is so rich.
Yeah.
So that's why Denis is kind of amazing as a director, because not only did he do that, but he did the sequel to arguably the most highly rated science fiction film ever, Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And
that's another one.
A lot of people think it's better than the original, which is insane.
Was it Blade Runner 2045 or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that the one with?
It's Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
And they brought Harrison Ford's back in it. That was dope though. Blade Runner 2 was fucking sick. It was you should watch it. It's good. It's very good actually. Yeah, that guy's I'm excited for Dune 2 because the thing about Dune is you could tell it kind of just stops. That's the thing about the movie. It kind of just, and you know that there's so much more. I'm excited, but
he's definitely just getting to a part where it's
it kind of just stops. But he's a director
doesn't even say not to be continued, but I feel like it hints that there's more.
Yeah, well, part 2 was all Okay,
that's
and it was always it was always announced that they were doing them pretty much back to back, and it was always meant to, it wasn't.
No. So
is it do I have it wrong?
No. So he did that one, and they didn't actually greenlight part 2.
Oh wow!
If it does well, we'll pay for part 2.
Okay.
And he was just so sure. He was it's gonna do.
Yeah, he's I'm starting on 2
this
hours.
Is really good. And also he was I'm not gonna condense this whole thing into one movie.
Yeah,
which was super smart.
Yeah.
Like, can you kind of make it like all the same visuals and all the effects, but kind of rom-coms?
Yeah.
Like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we
There's
need to add like more humor
with
in there,
Dune-
some punches.
with Dune too,
punch it up a little.
Because what's his face? George Lucas had said how big of an inspiration that was for Star Wars, and there's hella similarities in it, in like the story. It's hella George Lucas lifted a bunch of shit from Star Wars.
So Dune came first.
Yeah, Dune was first because well, at least the book did. Like I don't know, maybe the Star Wars movie came before the Dune movie, but the book was out before it.
Did y'all watch the movie? I mean, read the book?
Nah, I've never read the book.
No.
No.
Now, my brother's a big fan, but
Yeah, but it's highly praised. You know, people love it. But maybe I'll go back after the movies are done, and then read it or something. But I'm definitely stoked for Dune 2.
I read the V for Vendetta like graphic novel.
Yeah.
And then watched the movie again. Because there's another thing where I had the DVD a long time. Watched it a million times, you know. But
I haven't seen that in a while.
But I hadn't in a long time. And ran it back. The movie's really good. And someone had told me, maybe it's like the guy at the comic book store, someone was like, you know, I mean, Alan Moore is like the GOAT, but like the graphic novel is so much better. And not all the way wrong, but I was like, the movie's still really good. But the graphic novel just goes a little bit more into depth of like all the little plotting and revenges.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like you get one or two, like it kind of like is shortcutted in the movie a little bit.
Movies have
more,
to be
you
a
know?
certain length at some point, you know, whereas a graphic novel, they say that about a lot of shit, though. It's like the source material is obviously going to be more extensive when it's a book or a novel, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the time constraint of being 2 to 3 hours, you know?
Yeah. Is there like a movie that you were talking about how you didn't watch The Boys, but you read the graphic novel,
The Boys is
right?
fire, dude.
yeah, and I guess a lot of people think that the graphic novel is really corny.
Really?
I never read
I've heard
read
a lot of people
the
being like it's pretty cringe, but I'm like I think it's cool, and I actually couldn't watch the TV show because it was like it departed pretty far from it.
I like The Boys. I think The Boys is really good.
It's good.
I loved it. I think it's fucking great, honestly.
Yeah, I never read the source material.
You watched the show though?
I watched the show.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah.
I
Boys is sick.
binged it in you know
The Boys is dope, bro.
a week or two.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
was it
love
like
that.
6
I just
seasons
love
of it?
that because you know, in the age that we're in, where superhero movies are so prevalent, and I love them. I obviously have a bit of bias. Like I fully buy into it. I love it, but there is a sense of them that are very formulaic, where The Boys flips that on its head, and it's like, what if
That was like
what if
the
it was a
whole
corporation
premise,
running this
right?
shit? And
Yeah.
what if it was like how these motherfuckers really would be? And yeah, it's very like explicit and violent, but it's almost like
Was someone in this modern age had all that power?
Yeah. It's not just, what do you call that, gratuitous violence or whatever? Yeah, it's not just like, it's not violent just to be violent. It's like
Homelander is obvious. Like there's elements like, oh, this is like parodying that in a way.
Yeah,
but they
it's very
still
satirical.
have their own spin on it, and a lot of it is like probably be a lot if a superhero really was in these modern times. You know what I mean?
That guy, I think his name is Anthony Starr. That guy's a really good actor. The guy that plays Homelander. And I always get excited when I find out an actor's Australian and I don't know they are. I'm always like,
he was Australian.
He's Aussie, bro.
Dude, I loved Butcher.
Carl Urban.
Was he Australian?
Nah, he's from New Zealand.
Okay, there was moments where I'm like, or does he have an accent in the show? That's what
he
it is.
kind of has his. It's like a British accent, but his New Zealand accent pokes through.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was like, is he Australian at first? But it's because of the Kiwi.
Yeah,
but
I love
that
Carl
fool.
Urban.
We've talked about it. I was like, that fool. I said it, and you're like, I think it might be. But I was like, that fool should play fucking Wolverine. Dude.
Yeah, he almost played Wolverine and he almost played Batman. That fool's been up for a bunch of those roles before. But yeah,
what do you mean?
In the running
Wolverine?
for it. Yeah, he
Like
was.
that?
He's been up for both. He was almost Wolverine and
In
Batman.
new? In
No,
like
Hugh
new
Jackman
shit?
Wolverine. Like in that era. He almost
On the
played
new
Wolverine.
wave,
Yeah.
bro. Bring that fool back.
Yeah,
You
they're
know?
probably gonna make him younger, but I would like it to be like middle-aged Wolverine.
Oh man, Logan.
Oh fuck. But yeah, Carl Urban is fire too. I love the Judge Dredd. That movie's that's like one of the most underrated
Judge
too.
Dredd?
If you've never seen that movie, bro,
The new one?
yeah, it is so sick, bro. It's so dope, and it went under the radar. It didn't do well in the box office. A lot of people don't know about it, and they just think of the Sylvester Stallone one. But dude, the remake of Judge Dredd is fucking fire. It's so good, and the girl who plays Cersei is the villain in it, and she's really good.
Oh yeah, she's good.
Highly recommended, underrated.
Shame.
Yeah.
That's all I heard.
Yeah, and that shit was. I usually don't like 3D because I feel like they don't have the fucking angles right sometimes. But that shit in 3D was insane, bro. That was like fucking. It was like they made it for the 3D. Like when I see it in theaters, it holds up without it, obviously. But that was a movie that I did see in 3D that was like, oh my god.
Dude, one of the first movies I seen in 3D was Beowulf.
Beowulf, yeah, I remember Beowulf.
Yeah, I think I seen
That
that
movie was
and
nuts.
maybe
Avatar.
what's the gold? Where they're all gold? The Immortals or something like that. It's like came out shortly after Beowulf. I want to say. I think it's called like the Immortals or something.
Can't remember.
It's like Olympian, like Greek god. Like I can't remember, but it's
Yeah.
around that same era.
Not Clash of Titans.
I don't think it was Clash of the Titans.
I don't think I saw the remake of that. I used to watch the old one when I was a
Oh,
kid, though.
yes.
Like I used to watch Clash of the Titans
stop
as a kid.
motion?
Yep, that shit. That shit
So
was
rough.
lit, bro.
Yeah.
Me and my brother used to fuck with that for sure.
Kraken with
and
that?
Medusa and all
Yeah,
that shit.
Medusa,
Yeah,
yeah.
Clash of the
The
Titans.
skeletons fighting and
Was dope. Yeah.
stuff.
Dude, you know what I did see though? When I was in New York, as one of the battles I did, like
JC.
it might have been JC. I think it might have, if this timing works out. I think it was though. Is Thor 2?
Ragnarok?
Yeah, Ragnarok.
Oh, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I seen Ragnarok in New York, but it wasn't 3D. It was 4D. Maybe
I haven't
XD.
watched the 4D. I haven't
Maybe
done that.
XD is
Is
what
that
they
where the
called it.
shit,
But
like, moves
so
and
yeah,
the-
like the motherfucking
water.
tables would like, or the chairs would like tilt, move, vibrate. Like there's certain parts where he's like in a fight and it feels like you're getting like punched in the back by something. And there's like mist and shit when he's like diving in the water. It's like a fucking
That's
ride.
crazy. I've always
bro,
heard.
the
I've
whole time.
never seen it though. Like.
I was
I've
like,
never
what's
watched a
this?
movie
I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Yeah.
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 It was really good, actually.
Yeah, I would like to experience that. I've never watched it.
I've never even seen it anywhere else. It was like some touristy shit.
No,
where
they
like
have it.
walking
They have
around
it
and-
here. It's
yeah.
it's XD or something.
I think
like
that's
that, or
what it
4X.
is.
It's called something like
It's either
that.
4D or XD.
Yeah,
maybe
something
both,
like that.
But
yeah, I've never experienced that. It'd be cool though. That'd
it's
be
the
a
only
cool-
one I have.
Yeah.
But it was great for it.
That'd be a cool experience.
And it was 3D. You know.
Yeah,
yeah. So there's like certain parts. Where so that's like 7Ds. You know what I mean? There you go.
Yeah, but for the most part, I'm not a fan of 3D. But there are movies that I've seen that look really cool. Like even Avatar, bro. Like I rewatched Avatar after I'd seen it in 3D, and I was like, this movie's kind of. But that experience of watching Avatar in 3D,
Yeah, it's like
especially at the
made for
time,
that,
that
yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah.
That was like a crazy cinematic experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity
Those are the
was
two movies where it warrants it being part of the narrative.
yeah, Gravity was crazy to see.
And I don't
in
think
3D.
I ever saw Gravity.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in theaters, and like that was a visual experience.
What's Gravity
It's
again?
Sandra Bullock and George
In space.
Clooney.
She's like,
Gets lost or some
Oh.
shit.
yeah.
Oh, that does sound
Long
familiar.
takes.
Yeah,
That
super
does
long
sound.
takes.
Doesn't she like go out and she's like floating early on to fix something? On
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
Okay, I see it, but I,
Yeah, that
I didn't
was-
see it in 3D.
That
though.
was a crazy experience seeing that movie.
But those
yeah.
are like the 3D aspect goes beyond being a gimmick,
Yeah,
and it like warrants it being part of the experience. You know.
yeah, and okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't for a lot of these movies, they're not necessarily made for 3D. They just convert it, right? Like,
Some.
right? So, and
Some
you
are
can. I
filmed
feel like
in
you can tell when it's
Yeah.
something that's. And I hate that. I think that's had to do with bad experiences I've had with 3D, where it's like they didn't make
Everybody's
it for
eyes
3D. They
also
just
see
convert
it
it.
differently.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's all based on how far apart your eyes physically are.
Yeah.
So like how you perceive depth is different for every person, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like it's really hard to hit that on the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And like Avatar being a 3D movie, it's so much easier to do, whether it's like a movie that's filmed in stereo with 2 cameras.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
will
the
they be
worst.
filming movies with two cameras
Yeah, it's
like
called filmed in
simultaneously?
stereo. So I worked on I feel like two movies in 3D. One was Green Lantern,
Oh.
the one with Ryan Reynolds, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Deadpool.
shit we did was all in 3D.
Yeah.
It was like the beginning of the movie explaining Parallax's origin story. And then I worked on Journey to the Center of the Earth 2 with The Rock.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And that's live action, obviously. So they
Yeah.
filmed it in stereo. So you get two different plates. And like when you look at them, it's kind of moving like that, you know, like this parallax shift.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so terrible.
Yeah.
So
But
bad,
that also reminds me, going back to Nolan though, like wasn't he one of the first people like filming specifically for IMAX, like with the IMAX cameras,
Yeah.
and made that special camera for the Dark Knight and shit?
He's also so against CG.
Yeah.
that I fucks with that so hard.
Yeah.
And like the black hole in like Interstellar was like so scientifically correct that like people were actually being like it was like proving theories correct, and like people who come study the stuff that they put in that movie. They're like,
Damn.
actually, that makes a lot of sense that you did that.
Yeah.
There's like so much thought that goes into his
So that movie
images.
is so good.
Yeah, I've
That's
seen that a
probably
bunch
my
of times.
favorite
Yeah.
Nolan.
Yeah,
movie,
Interstellar is
honestly.
really good. I've seen that movie a bunch of times. That's a great movie.
I don't know. Inception's so good.
I love Inception, bro.
And
Inception.
Dark Knight.
Yeah,
It's like
Dark Knight
those
is
top three.
Dark
though.
Knight is
Yeah.
one of my favorites. But yeah, but all of them, bro. Inception, Interstellar, like just big epic movies. I'll go see his movies in IMAX for sure because they're made for that shit. IMAX is lit though. Like on the other side, I don't really like 3D, but I love IMAX. IMAX is fire. Like
See the extra little trees over there or whatever. like-
that shit, bro. That shit, I remember like back when I was a kid, we went to San Diego on like a family vacation, and like at the zoo they had like an IMAX theater, which at the time was crazy. I remember watching like a documentary on like fucking pandas or something, but it was so visually
Yeah.
stimulating and amazing that I fell in love with IMAX there.
Amzi had that was the first time I heard of IMAX. And when people would talk about IMAX, I was like, Amzi? Like I thought it was like their thing. And so Amzi is in Oregon. It's like Oregon Museum of Science and something, you know. And I just remember from going to a field trip, and it's like different little scientific exhibits. Like I remember you were able to like build your own little boat and then like float it down a crazy water thing, and there was like dinosaur exhibits, but a lot of it was interactive, so you could like kind of make a game, like gamify the learning experience or whatever, which is really cool. But they had a movie theater, and it was IMAX or whatever, and it was the same thing. Like you know, probably watched it on like space or the solar system or something. But they also had this shit there called, which I always wanted to like watch a crazy movie on it, but it'd have to be filmed for just this. But it's like I don't know if it's called like a planetarium or whatever, but basically you go in there and like all the seats are in a row, and it's like the entire ceiling and everything is like the screen. And I watched some shit there that was like a, you know, educational shit about the like maybe how the universe started or whatever, but I'm like that would be fucking insane to have like a Christopher Nolan movie like in a format like
I've
that.
seen movies in that, like at in San Francisco. What's that fucking place called? The fucking Exploratorium, I think it's called. They have something like that there. And then I think in DC at all those museums, like one time when we were on tour, we did a day where we went to all like the air and space and the fucking, which that shit, all of the museums in DC are crazy. But I watched a space movie in the dome.
Dude, imagine Interstellar, but it's filmed for,
yeah, it's crazy.
for the dome experience.
Yeah, the immersion of that is nuts.
Yeah. Let me see. Imagine getting dome in the dome.
Oh shit! While freestyling off the dome.
That'd be amazing, dog. I'm telling, that's the next way. That's 5D.
Yeah.
Or it's 6 even. Could be 6.
Oh my god.
Nah, since I was a little kid, I was like, I want to watch Bloodsport on that.
Oh my god. Hell yeah.
The
Hell
90s,
yeah.
bro. The 90s were like the time that I was that I'm most nostalgic about with the theater. 'Cause it's like that's when I was going like with a family friend. Like this fool Mike would like take us to the movies, and then like I might be able to go to the mall and get like an action figure after the movie. You know what I mean? And get like a Ninja Turtle after watching Ninja Turtles or whatever.
Yeah,
that was like. But I remember like seeing Street Fighter. I was a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan.
I used to fuck with Van Damme for sure. I used to watch, but Bruce Lee was. I used to love Van Damme and Jackie Chan, but Bruce Lee for me and my brother were like super geeked out on because our dad would like we'd watch them with our pops, and then like I've seen all of them. Like,
dude,
I love Bruce Lee movies. Enter the Dragon, The Big Boss. Game of Death, all that shit. Yeah, that shit's fucking fire.
That was on
that's the one. No. It's Game of Death, I think.
Oh yeah.
That movie, that's the one where he died while they made it, and all the dialogue scenes aren't Bruce Lee. And I didn't realize this until way later, but I remember thinking how weird it was as a kid.
Filming Game of Death.
Yeah. Damn. I remember how thinking I couldn't put my finger on it as a kid, where I was like, there's something off about this movie. But then I later learned that, he died during it, and it's not him during hell of the dialogue scenes.
That's
which
insane.
I would always think, there's something, but I would love it. But I'm like, something was weird about this movie. It's like, then I realized it's not him.
Right.
He just looks like him, but.
Dude, I used to hate Chuck Norris.
Well, yeah.
It's just like the way he looked.
I don't know if I was.
I remember getting in arguments like with my dad, like, well, Jean-Claude Van Damme will beat up Chuck Norris.
That's hilarious.
And my mom would always troll me and be like, "Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme! Look, a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme." I'm like, "It's Jean." That was the biggest thing. It's Jean, Mom.
What's the movie where he dances all crazy?
That's not Lionheart. Isn't that the one with his twin? Like there's a movie where I can't remember if that's Lionheart or what, but I remember I think in that movie there's a scene where he fights this fool like in a pool, like in a shallow pool. It's not it might be Lion. Is it Lionheart?
I can't remember.
Double Trouble, I think, was the name.
That sounds.
There
like
was one where he played himself.
Double Trouble sounds like the one.
Kickboxer.
With his twin.
What?
Kickboxer.
Oh, Kickboxer.
You don't remember that? Like,
yeah, he's like in a little like tank top. It's like a meme that people use. Yeah, dude, all the movies like Nowhere to Run was fire. Lionheart was like probably my favorite, but all the way to like Bloodsport, Street Fighter, like Bloodsport though.
Yeah, that's a classic.
That was the one.
Yeah, Bloodsport's the one for sure.
And he's like blind with powder in his eyes.
Yeah. Dude, some of those old Jackie Chan movies are insane though. Like
Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh yeah, Rumble in the Bronx was crazy. But even before that, bro, like there was a kid in I think 6th grade. He let me borrow a bunch of old like kung fu movies and shit, and Drunken Master was on there, and that shit, bro, like the scene where he's like fighting on the ladders and shit, like, dude, some of the stuff he does in those old movies is insane, bro. Or there's one, I think it's in Rumble of the Bronx, but it's one where he's like tied up in a rope and he like barrel rolls like out of the rope, like he's like sideways tied up and like flips out of it, and it's the craziest fucking stunt, bro.
There's that whole sequence in Rumble in the Bronx when he's like inside the apartment, like hella floors up or whatever, and he's chasing someone, and then he runs down this narrow hallway and like runs up the wall like past him, and then like jumps up and goes through the window above the door, like swings out. And then he like does some shit on the fire escape and like jumps. And in the outtakes in the credits, it's like you see he did his own thing and he broke his ankle.
Yeah.
And then like painted the cast the same like color as his shoe and shit.
They have all that. They have all the outtakes at the end of his movies. Like that shit was lit, bro. Insane. Or he whoops a dude's ass with the fucking antenna from the back of the car. That shit's hard. Bro, Rumble in the Bronx was fire. I seen that shit in theaters, bro.
Damn,
like
I don't remember if I did.
For real, it's probably 95 or some shit like that. I definitely still had a fucking Australian accent. Fucking Rumble in the Bronx, mate. Yeah, dude. And then that fool blew up so crazy that that next movie that came out, which was Super Cop, is actually part 3 of a series of Police Story,
I was about
Hong
to
Kong
say
Police.
Police
But
Story, yeah,
they
yeah.
released part 3 as like not in the franchise in America, but they just branded it as Super Cop. But it's actually part 3. It's the 3rd movie in a series. But they just said he was so hot at the time. That was the next movie they put out. Was a movie that had already came out in Hong Kong and was the 3rd installment.
He's on fire.
They just rebranded
that was before Rush Hour, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Rumble in the Bronx
lead
and
up
Super
to it.
Cop, and I think there was 1 or 2 other ones, and then Rush Hour is what like. But dude, there's a movie that he's in that came out not that long ago. The one where it's like the daughter's missing, and he's like, it's called like The Inspector.
I was gonna say Protector or
something like that. And
Yeah.
he is really good in that movie.
I haven't seen it,
that
but
movie's
I've like
sick, bro.
You
should watch that
seen
movie.
it on
That movie's gas.
You know, while
And
browsing.
he actually like. It's not a campy movie. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
dark,
it's a dramatic role for him, and he's really good. But yeah, like that's like I love seeing that when someone's able to pull out, and this happens with like comedians and shit too, but when someone's able to deliver a really good dramatic performance and they're not known as a dramatic actor, I love that. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing people's versatility and their, you know, in their toolbox.
100%.
I love that type
Jim
of shit.
Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
Another one of my like probably
Yeah.
top 10. Like,
Yeah.
it's up there, you know.
Yeah, bro.
Amazing.
It's all and most of the time it'd be like comedians, but like you know, Jackie Chan's the martial arts action star, and seeing it, like, damn, like that fool actually. Yes, there's action and crazy shit in the movie, but I'm like, damn, this fool's like, this is a dramatic performance. Like, this is really good. Like, I love that. I always respect that more from someone when they're able to step outside of whatever they're like, either typecast or whatever they're known for. Like, it's always cool to see when someone's able to, like, even with like fucking Adam Sandler. Like, Adam Sandler,
Yeah. Dude, Adam
delivers
Sandler and Uncut Gems.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So good.
Or Punch Drunk Love, or like, you know, even like a movie like Click or something, where it's like, this is actually like a really emotional movie.
Funny People.
Yeah, like
He had like cancer in it.
Yeah, when Adam Sandler wants to, like, that fool could deliver a really good dramatic performance. Robin Williams had that same thing too, or
Dude,
Jamie Foxx.
My
like,
favorite movie of all time is
Good Will Hunting. Great movie,
and it's
classic.
like his
Yeah.
performance is low key the main, like one of the main reasons why. So good in that.
Yeah.
You got to sample some Jackie Chan on like Water or some like Rumble in the Bronx or some shit like some, you know, from like some nostalgic 90s movies.
Oh, Fredo will be able to
Wild
fucking.
Buffalo.
Fredo will be able to be like, all right,
Wild
this
Buffalo.
scene from this, that was a Rolodex like that. He knows all that.
And that's
shit.
like the kind of y'all be on some 90s nostalgic vibes
for sure.
low key, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea. We should do some shit like that. I actually kind of want the artwork for 3 to be like, because that was
Like
initially
a 90s movie, right?
Yeah, like that's kind of what 2 is, but I want it to be like more over the top.
Yeah.
Because 2 became like a drawing inspired by a movie poster, where I want the artwork for 3 to be
look like a movie
look
poster.
like an actual.
Yeah.
Which the concept in itself has been done before, but it just fits the aesthetic of it so perfectly. You know?
Everything's been done.
Yeah.
It's how you do it.
Yeah.
Execute.
But like, I don't know, bro. I just don't think my love for movies and good TV shows will ever go away.
No.
Like, I love that shit, bro. Like I'm a avid movie and TV show fan. Like, and that'll never go away. My parents are like that. My grandparents were like that. Like, always loved growing up just watching movies and TV shows. But like, I'll go so deep, bro. And I've definitely binged some shows in a sickening amount of time before. Dude, the first time I watched The Sopranos, this is when it was still on DVD, and I think I started watching it in the 3rd season, but I'm pretty sure I watched the first 3 seasons in like however long it is. That's how long I watched it. You know what I'm saying?
Like I was pissing in a Mountain Dew
bro.
cup.
Like, it was like
watching.
Yeah, like
Watching Gabagool.
I do. That is something that I do like about the current medium, is the binge factor. Like, it is nice to be able to just like, or when you go back and watch a show that you've seen that you watched weekly. Like, a lot of these shows, the popular shows, I've watched when they air. So it's like, even with like Breaking Bad, like I watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul every week. But recently, before Better Call Saul the last season, I went back and ran it all back. And I do love a good binge, especially when you're into it.
I try to let them build, but if it's something I really want to watch, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, I'm hooked. Like I get addicted to it, and I have to just see it through. Like I can't watch. There's multiple shows that I will watch at a time, but if I'm hooked on a show, I'm not watching anything until I finish it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't watch multiple joints at the same time. Like,
do you know when? Do you have a projected date for Dubbies?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be in April, but it's done though. Like, we're not going to add anything new to it. We've had it done for a long time, to be honest. But Fredo's going to come down in March, and we've got a bunch of content planned. I had a meeting with Zoo the other day when he was at the house.
Nice.
It's done though. Like, musically, it's done. I still need to mix it, but it's really good. I love it.
Hopefully we put this out before then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Avo, gotta say I appreciate you for every time we're at the gym peer pressuring me to bring the podcast back.
Yep.
You know, meanwhile on Earth.
Yeah, I'm excited, bro. I think this is a new wave for us of content. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely like,
though, to let them know what we're
excited.
on, you know what I mean? What we've been up to catch up with everyone.
Yeah, and it gives motivation to do more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even something like this will motivate me to like put out more music or like just be more active and create more, and it all helps, you know, and it contributes because it's content. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on our patreon.com/illmagtv, get them weeklies. Fuck with the Raising the Bars at Chase More Music. Let's go.
Yep.
03 Greedo shit on airplanes like B.O.B. My POV is lit. Only difference between a million and a bunch of zeros is the one. I'm on my neon shit. They closed the door, I picked the pin up that I picked the key with. Seen enough sex and drugs to have a trio with my ego trip. Been in a slump, hard to give a fuck. Hard not to give up, hard not to live up to expectations.